Hi, I'm Michael Matthews, the Improv GM, and we're going to be talking today about not being the face character and how to make sure that all of the player characters have an opportunity to have social situations that actually matter to the game itself. Now, one of the problems with most systems is they have, well, shitty social systems. It tends to come down to either like a one roll wins all, and generally a lot of people don't have access to those abilities or don't have any sort of advantage when they do it, because like only charismatic people can talk and stuff. So you've often got like one person in your party might be good at talking. They might be good at being able to convince someone of something, and everyone else really is a total crapshoot if they try to do something. One of the problems with this is why good social systems give everyone the ability to interact at some level. So we're going to assume you're not using one of those, which is going to be useful for how we're going to go about tackling it. So the thing is like when all you have is combat abilities and you're looking at what you can do to change the current state of the game without simply going to GM fiat, or that place where essentially you talk long enough or say the right things that your GM figures, okay, that'll convince them, which can be slamming your head against the wall. It can also, conversely, feel like it's way too simple, like the GM is giving in too quickly. One of the reasons to go to dice in a combat situation is it helps build tension, and it takes it away from just the GM deciding, okay, I think that goblin's going to be dead about now, we can move on. It gives you a structure and it gives you surprises. So for most of the time, if you've only got one person that's good at it, you ask the face to do it because everything you have is combat oriented, which is common in a lot of role-playing games, or narrowly focused into a variety of special skills. This is where the GM actually can do a lot to make this happen more often, to get like the fighter in a party talking more to NPCs, to actually doing something besides waiting to hit someone with their sword, and keep the face character not just sitting in the back waiting for, oh, we gonna talk? Oh, I'm in now. And then rushing in, doing their thing, and then being bored. You can have people doing a variety of stuff. What the GM has to do, though, is you need to have opportunities for characters who aren't usually as social to talk to people in a way that makes a difference in the story without punishing them. Now, you should be having incidental roleplay here and there with them, so they have an opportunity to talk to this person sitting next to them at a bar, to talk to a friend of theirs, to have something where you don't have to go to the dice, where it's just developing characters, but there's also satisfaction in getting to a place where, oh, my fighter is going to try to talk his way into this party. The problem becomes if you're going to punish them for having a shitty diplomacy stat or not enough bonus, they're not going to want to make the roll because there's no chance, depending on how this particular system works. What you have to do is look for the things that would give them a bonus so that it doesn't feel like they are at a massive disadvantage and they should just go ahead and send the face character in. There's an excellent example of this on the TV show Person of Interest. You've got a character, Shaw, who is essentially not very social. And you actually get to see her sort of start to pop out and connect with someone because they have something in common. I'm going to put the link into the description. It starts about 23 seconds in, runs about 20 seconds. I recommend checking it out. I'll wait. Okay, so if you think about if she has to, if that person has to end up talking to a military special ops person to try to get into something, she can geek out about guns. I mean, like that moment the two of them, the detective get incredibly excited over the type of gun. He's like, oh no, you can borrow it any time. Because you see someone who's not very friendly open up because she has something to connect with. She's actually excited about it. And if it was a different scene, those two probably would have talked a while about guns and become closer because of it. So if you're in a position where you're trying to get into a party and maybe the face goes in through everything else, but maybe your fighter decides, well, I'm going to go ahead and talk to the one of the guards. If you've got someone who's been on mercenary campaigns, who knows what it's like being at war, who's a fighter, who's maybe not into all of the kind of high society stuff going on, they're going to probably get along better with your fighter who's been in it as well, as opposed to the face who is a minor nobleman who went away from his family and really swims well in that society. You can get into the party and maybe even to places that the face character wouldn't, because you can connect with the guards instead. Give that player an advantage because they have something in common in the background. And now, this is not to say they have to succeed, but if a player feels like he's only going to get punished for touching the dice and trying something that's outside of what that character's essential class is, they're not going to try to go outside of that class. So outside of just the regular incidental role play to develop the character and get them more comfortable with playing a character and not a set of stats, you also need to give them advantages where they feel like they can go in. So what I suggest doing is the first couple times when they have this, give them maybe a bigger advantage than you would in the future. They'll start to develop who they are, ways to get in touch with people, and you don't just have one person doing all of the social stuff that becomes important. You actually can have the entire party finding their ways to do it. Now, you don't want to necessarily destroy the sort of niche protection if you're playing a game that has that. The face may have some more abilities, may have some more stuff that they can do, but it doesn't mean everyone else has to sit on the sidelines. From a GM point of view, you want to reward the face character for doing the thing that he's super good at, but you don't want everyone else to be afraid of it. The same way I've rarely seen a game where when combat starts, your social character heads to the back and just chills. Because then they're sitting there bored for an hour and a half while you're going through combat, waiting for everything to happen. Games give them some combat abilities, maybe not as good as other people. So think about the times you have been around people that have the same interest. I see this at Theater Fest all the time with students, some of which who might be a little bit shy. Because they're around a ton of other theater kids, they open up and just blossom, even the really shy ones, because they're in a place where everyone cares about the same thing. So look for the characters that might just even stop by to look at the uncomfortable looking fighter in a place and then just sort of talk to them. Because guards get bored and sometimes just talk to people who seem like they're out of place too. You have been with friends who all work together and they get together, they won't talk about anything else because the things that they do are a big part of their lives. It's a way that they connect. And sometimes they find out they don't have a lot outside of it, but they can still, you can be weirdly good friends with people that work is the biggest thing that you have. You've complained about your job and opened up to someone because of that. You maybe done the same thing. All of these are different ways for a character, even if they're from the same country. One thing I've been told is it's fairly common for Americans abroad that if they run into other Americans, get super excited because now they're talking to someone who's from the same place. And I'm sure that's other ways too. Like in our area, you have people from different parts of the country, because we have a university, do clump together quite a bit. Like I've been to parties where I've been the only native English speaker there because everyone we've got there is Polish and Korean and what have you, and it's an interesting place to be. And these people have a lot to go into because they share something that they don't with other people. Find those opportunities. Give your players a chance to do more than just the stuff that's on their sheet. If you want more social engagements where it actually matters. I do recommend the dice because it gives it both tension and weight that you just talking to them until you decided they've done it or not doesn't. It also either stops the GM who is way too easy or the boneheaded I'm not letting you through this. As a matter of fact, if you get to a point where you know you're not going to talk your way through this person and you're not using dice, just tell your player at some point. Because I've seen games where people are going on for 45 minutes and no one's going to budge. It's like an internet argument happening in front of you when I'm running low on whiskey. And that's never cool. So, GMs, try it. Give your players an opportunity to actually open up and do the things they wouldn't normally do. You're going to find that it actually helps develop the characters in really interesting ways and brings in other smaller characters that would normally get completely ignored. The guard at the party might come back into it. He might be hired for a different place they have to get into later, and you can then see that character again. Again, if you like it, hit subscribe, share. If you've got any questions, let me know. Hit the 8-minute song challenge, or 8-minute story challenge, which is one of the videos I've got on my feed where if you give me a song and a genre, I will go through it, listen to it twice, and I will create an adventure base for you based on that song, which I have a lot of fun doing on the Fear the Boot forums. Have yourself a great evening, and goodbye.